portion of a hospital.
Right.
That's the way we want to operate. But right now, we just operate on demand. The weather's hot, they call us. It gets cold, they call us. And that's pretty much how our business operates. Just kind of at the, on demand. Well, I want to make that where we're by appointment majority. By appointment where people's like, you know what, I've got allergies, I've got this, I've got that. And it's not an emergency right then, right there, We want them to come through the emergency room and then schedule an appointment in one of the other buildings in the hospital, kind of keep that in place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so by appointment, is it safe to assume that would be proactive maintenance, or, to some degree, they're feeling this need on the emergency basis? What has prevented them from feeling that need prior to that?
Yeah, proactive. Maintenance is probably the entry level to that. That's probably where you get because it's hard to get somebody to go from not knowing you to spending $25,000. So that maintenance is a good cheap way to get to know each other. And then I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. So say that question again, and I'll kind of.
Well, what's preventing them from not feeling the need prior to an emergency?
Okay. Well, it's not, their equipment's not broke. Many, in the sense of like allergies and things like that, I don't think most people understand that their home is making them sick. The home is one of the number one factors in being sick, and that and the AC system is pretty much the driving force of that. So.
Isn't that interesting? Because the particles that are in the air, the lack of filtration.
Yeah. We call that air conditioner the lungs of the house. So it's the biggest engine in the house. So it's when air's moving, it's moving air from everything. So it's sucking air from places it shouldn't be. That's really the thing, is sucking air through places it shouldn't be, which then it gets dirty. Now it's pumping that dirty air through the house, and just an ongoing cycle. So.
Okay, and as I hear certain elements, I'm going to organize them into the SB7 framework. That's why I'm asking some of these questions to kind of stir up some of the intuitive, feedback from you. So your desire is to create more proactive by appointment.
Yeah.
Business. Yep. Okay. It sounds like current revenue breakdown. Basic equipment replacement, which would include what? Furnace and air conditioner replacement, just those basic necessities?
Yeah.
Not the surgical air filtration, dehumidification.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's correct. Yep. That's just the basic heat and air replacement, furnace and air conditioner.
Okay. So if you, Scott, wanted to have one primary audience, do you see a clear pro or con to focusing on either what has been the basic replacement of equipment and repairs, or it sounds like this higher end $50,000 upper tier of full complete home package? Efficient cooling and heating, new air duct system, multiple zones, surgical air. Who's your primary audience? Who would you like your primary audience to be?
Well, it's hard to say because I haven't sold many of those total packages.
Mm-hmm.
But from our end, say, this all started with my son. So I'm going to kind of, what I'm describing is basically my wife. It's usually a woman that I guess feels it more than the man. And then, and she has kids. I mean, that's, they got to be able to pay for it. And whether they got cash or just access to borrowing.
Mm-hmm.
What else? And then their house, you want their house to be, that's one of the downfalls of my house. I'm in an old house and I can't get to all of mine, so I can't have that perfect system. The house needs to be, able to work on. So, so that's why I put house values and square footage, and typically in those ranges, you're starting with a house you can work on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did I accurately summarize that 10 years or older? So slightly older homes are easier to work on than newer homes?
well, not necessarily. I mean, the newer homes are going to be easier, but I've just found somebody moving in the house, it's going to take them a couple of years to figure out they need something different.
Mm-hmm.
And then that 10-year mark, the air conditioner is about needed, it's in that range of starting to need to be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go for a new home, then, it's going to be a harder sale. It's already a hard sale, but it's going to be a harder sale.
So the current equipment is wearing out, needs to be replaced. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the conversation is, it really needs to start at least by 10 years. So average life expectancy is 12 to 15 years. So.
Okay. Yeah, so what's interesting to me, Scott, what I'm trying to hunt out here, a lot of the source material that you'd sent to me, my impression is that it would be very aligned with those higher end, full service package, like surgical air filtration, make the home healthier. But it doesn't sound so far like that is the revenue stream for affordable heating and cooling. So we can make it the aspirational message, and we can certainly lean into these higher end packages. I'm just trying to think of a way that we don't want to alienate the current revenue for the company. And if we go all in on that higher end service model, maybe that is the front gate, but we also have this alternate kind of backup, more, I don't want to call it commodity, but the basic heating and cooling, things people would expect. But really what we're focusing on is appealing to those higher end audiences.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely still offer the basic. Yeah, just to be competitive, but at the same time, our I guess USP would be, hey, we provide cleaner, healthier air.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one thing I want to show you, if you can see this well, let me see if I can back out a little bit. And probably, am I on an iPhone or a tablet?
Well, yeah, Android. Yeah.
Android. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So kind of that survive or thrive, if you will. This is like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's kind of expanded a little bit based on human motivation. And what I sort of did is I identified what I felt were kind of your ideal or current, your current elements that you somewhat focus on. These are the elements of value, perceived value by people. So your message currently is all about wellness and health. Some of the elements that you sent to me, it's about that. What I wondered is, in those higher end messaging, if we're talking about the full service, like the $50,000 package, that could be okay. We probably need to find a functional value that makes sense too. And what I wondered is it risk? Is it hassles, avoiding the hassles of going to doctors and not able to find the solution or what issue? I sort of feel like wellness is your primary message in that higher end market. You're really selling health and wellness in their home and reducing their risk of contributing to negative health in some degree. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yep.
And so what we find in this elements of value, the more of these that we can include, the stronger our message becomes. But I really want to focus in on what's the most important. So wellness can be that kind of focal point for us. Let's lean into that. So as we define our target audience, here's what I've heard so far. Married woman with children. It usually starts with her. Maybe she brings the guy along, the husband or person along with her. But it starts with her discerning it. Somewhere in your notes you had family would probably have at least one pet. You also noted participates in adoption and foster care. Is that just kind of an interesting stat? I just don't see, how does that connect?
Well, it really doesn't. I just kind of basically describing our family. And so that was just to kind of zoom in, super focused. So, I mean, that's not obviously a necessity or anything I put together, but I did have one customer other than my wife that's involved, we're involved in some of this process. But she has a new house, so she doesn't get the full package because she has a new house. And she fits a lot of that criteria, the adoption and things like that. So
is there that's interesting. I love it. Love foster care and adoption. Have a heart for that as well. Is there any reason we should be focused on new builds rather than existing? Or I don't know what the development market looks like down where you're at. Is there a lot of new properties being constructed?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a lot of new construction going on, and they need it. I mean, they need the work, but it's like in this lady's scenario, just her equipment's new, so you don't. I mean, there's things that we can do to that equipment, but you don't get the revenue from replacing that equipment.
I see.
And then you still got some builder warranties and things like that if it's new enough.
Got it. Yeah.
So, and then sometimes all the problems really don't show up till 3 or 4 or 5 years in. So I guess that would be the drawback to a new construction.
Yeah. I got you. That makes good sense.
I mean, and I'm looking at that from the perspective of me spending money to send a direct mail piece. That's kind of how I looked at it. All right, if I'm going to spend money to send them some kind of a mail piece, I wouldn't want the new construction person to get it. Now, if they see our message online and want to do business with us, that's different. Obviously, we would, but I don't want to spend that outbound money to target them. Now, like I said, if we're building a website and they like our message and want to do business, more power to them. But sure. I wouldn't send them a letter.
Yep. No, that makes good sense. And so as you go through your mind, what are some of the reasons or what are some of the criteria that you'd really kind of filter that direct mail piece and you'd want to target an audience from that? What sort of things go through your mind of the type of audience you'd like that direct mail piece to reach?
Well, it's a lot that's already listed. Like I said, just they got to have We got to have access to the equipment, which would, be in that house, home demographic. They got to have that need. So usually the kids are the need, or usually it's the kid that has the needs.
Yep.
And then they just got to be able to pay for it.
And how do you choose a neighborhood to send those direct mail pieces?
Well, the only way I knew how to do that was through home value.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, around here, that 250, and that probably could go a little higher considering, and like I said, that home value would, I guess, fluctuate as really on budget on marketing material. Because a 2,200 foot house, you're right there at a really big one unit, or you're starting to get into the two systems. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. In your area, it's common for homes to have two air conditioning systems, two zones, because one can't keep up with the whole home.
Yeah, you see that a lot in in those, a couple of the neighborhoods that I've got in mind.
Yep. Okay. So you pick neighborhoods that have got 300,000 and up, probably 10 years or older. These are some of the key demographics that you're looking for if you're going to do a direct mail piece and send out a couple thousand.
Yeah, and then also that, I mean, then that home value, it's typically a larger home, like we said, and they still got to pay for that, so they're able to pay typically.
Mm-hmm. And typically able to pay out of their own pockets, but you said or able to borrow.
Yeah, they just got to have access to that money. Now that I don't want to clarify that, other than they already are spending money on a larger home. And then these are obviously higher end neighborhoods, so other than that, I don't know how to clarify that even more.
Do you offer financing through your business?
Yes, we have ways of doing that, and I've got to get better at offering it. But yeah, It's available.
So tell me what's available currently for that.
Just what do you mean as far as the different type financing plans, or?
Yeah, so if I said, hey, I'd like to hire you to, replace 2 units in my home, I can't pay you, $15,000 cash to do that. What financing options do you have available? How would you guide a client through that in internal financing?
Okay. We've got one. Here's the thing. I'm not familiar with it, so it's hard for me to give you the rundown, but I think this is where we're going to end up going. We got a offering, or a company that offers different tiers at, a high interest. I think it's a high interest, short term. I mean, just different payment plans like that. Is that what you're meaning?
Yeah. So somebody could coordinate financing through affordable heating and cooling.
Yes. I mean, we'll walk them through it. Just, I guess that would be part of the process, is asking, what means more to you, high interest, shorter term, or, longer term, lower payments, things like that.
Yeah. Is this a revenue stream for you? Meaning the financing, do you make money on the interest payments, or do you coordinate with outside lending institutions?
Yeah, we coordinate with outside lending. So yeah, it's nothing. We don't make any money off of that.
Yeah, it's probably cleaner that way, so you don't have to do collections either.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Coordinate with outside lending institutions could be helpful. So if somebody's thinking, hey, I just don't have the money for it, hey, no problem. We help coordinate with outside lending institutions. We'll get you set up with a payment plan that makes sense for your budget. So
yeah.
Okay, I'm with you. So let's just confirm. Okay, so we've got The primary audience that we're talking to is probably the wife in the family to start with. She's the person we're trying to grab the attention of, if I understand correctly.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the mother of the family, because primarily this is motivated by creating a healthy environment for her children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So let's focus in on that as our primary audience. So this mother, and I think you had Jane Smith somewhere in your notes. I think let's define Smith now. Okay. So aspirational identity, people like to be taken from a beginning to a transformed end, to some major transformation takes place in who they are. Let's talk a little bit about Jane's identity. Currently, Jane is helpless. She couldn't stop her child's coughing and wheezing. Currently, Jane is a frustrated person. People would say, Jane, you're frustrated. You live as a frustrated person. Bedroom's hotter than the rest of her house, and freeze in other areas of the home, so she's just frustrated. She can't get comfortable. What else would describe Jane's identity currently? Prior to working with affordable air.
From that end, I don't know. That's kind of where we played out. I wish I'd have more customers like that. I know I could answer that better. And this is where
let's think.
Maybe some clarification. Would like a parent, like a soccer mom, is that where this comes in? She got children that play sports. Are we getting that into that or what?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good demographic that we'll capture. Let's see. Children, I got children involved in outside activities like church, sports, music, etc.
Yeah.
Children have got allergies. So Jane really wants to be a provider. She wants to create a nurturing environment. And currently she's falling short of that. She's frustrated and feels kind of helpless. She doesn't know why her kids' health issues persist. Is this true about Jane?
Yeah.
After she begins working with affordable heating and cooling, and again, I just want to validate, this is the message trail that we're going down, is trying to reach more Jane Smiths. What would be some words that would describe who she's become? She's become a secure person, a rested person.
Yeah. Secure, rested.
Because all the rooms are now just right. How does she feel as a mother?
Well, now she feels like, she's taking care of her kids. She's solved that coughing, wheezing, all those different problems. Caretaker, yeah.
Yep. Anything else that would describe Jane of who she feels she has become as a result of working with affordable heating and cooling?
I would have thought super mom, but I don't know.
It's like confident, super mom. She's got a boost of confidence now.
That's right.
She's a confident homemaker.
Yeah.
Did she doubt her ability to have a healthy home?
Oh, yeah, she doubted. Well, and here's the thing on that. She may not, before us, realize that it's her home. So, I don't know how to, she's doubtful that she could solve her child's, problem. confused. She don't know where the problem's coming from because they've taken all the medicine, done all the tests.
Mm-hmm.
And you're scared too, because I mean, if you've ever dealt with asthma, that's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
And at the end of the day, go ahead. Go ahead. Do you have another thought there?
Yeah. I don't know, that whole process of asthma. I don't know where this would fall, but and it's a scared, worried, all type feeling. They start the cough, then you'll hear some wheezing, and then it's an asthma attack. So I don't know where we would maybe spell that chain of events out.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me throw that down here. I want to make some additional notes.
Because in fact, I mean, last night I heard my oldest son. He's the one that basically, like I said, got us on all this. So I heard him coughing. So I said, "Oh no, what we gotta." So I went through all my checks. The humidity's good, air's on. So I went in his room, turned his air cleaner up, turned it up a notch, and 20 minutes he's not coughing anymore. So that's kind of how it works.
And clients would be very motivated, customers would be very motivated by that, especially if they're dealing with unending asthma attacks of their children. Last thing we want to do is throw more medicine into them, right?
Right.
Because that just masks, medicine really just masks a core issue that's not being solved.
Yep, and it does that. And one of our kind of breaking points was the medicine had side effects. So that was almost like we were almost kind of comfortable with, all right, well, I guess we'll do medicine, and then start having nosebleeds. So we said, that's unacceptable, we're done. And that kind of pushed us over the edge. So.
Mm-hmm. What does somebody do out in the normal world? So if a child has a safe, restful environment at the home, but they go out into the normal world, they're still going to be attacked by poor air quality elsewhere, right? In school, institutions, other areas, perhaps?
Yeah. Hang on a second, I had a text come up.
No
problem. So say that again, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No problem. So I'm just, if we going down this path of the, air quality, children deserving to have a safe and quality home environment, and they can't have this right now because the air quality is the thing that's the hidden issue for them. If we solve that with affordable heating and cooling, when they go out to school or to the grocery store and it's not the issue, they're going to have asthma out there, right? So it's almost like their life is riddled with these, battle environments for their asthma. The home shouldn't be another one.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna fight it everywhere you go. So your home needs to be that sanctuary.
Yeah.
Where you come home and you rest, you recuperate.
Something like that. Like, hey, life is tough enough. The home should be a place of rest, like you said, sanctuary. I like that. That's almost a philosophical.
Yeah.
Okay, so our Jane wants to become secure, or that her child won't be waking them up tonight with wheezing and coughing turning into an asthma attack. So she wants to be secure. She wants to be rested. She wants to be a caretaker. She wants to be supermom. She wants to be a confident homemaker. Which of these would you say Jane would most resonate with?
I would say that top one, secure.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jane really wants to be a secure person. She's not a secure person today. But for her to become a secure person, that's worth its weight in gold for Jane.
Yeah.
Okay. So for Jane to become secure, child won't be waking them up tonight. What are some of the things that need to happen in Jane's world for her to feel that way? She needs to be able to enjoy a healthy environment free from allergens. She needs to live comfortably in her home with her children.
Mm-hmm.
What else? What else needs to happen in Jane's life? She needs to get to the root cause of what's keeping her children up.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She needs to get off all the medications.
Yeah, right.
You know, less doctor visits. And here's the thing with asthma, and I don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I don't want to come across as a doctor on that, is, you know, you don't really solve asthma. You just solve the triggers that cause the asthma.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not curing any kind of disease or anything. We're just getting rid of pollutants that, you know, allergens that
Yeah.
aggravate all of these different ailments.
I like that. May not solve the asthma, but we can remove the triggers that cause it.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Okay, so
Yeah,
for
my son, like I said, I was going to say my son, he still got asthma, but we haven't had asthma attacks since we started this process. So, but it's
yeah,
still
because
like,
you're removing
you know,
the
you still
triggers
gotta,
that cause it.
that's right. You still got to be aware, but you know, it's not like it was.
What else? For Jane to feel secure, what would make her feel secure? See her children.
See them thrive, feel.
What's that?
You know, live well at home, thrive in their sports. You know, if they got asthma, like I said, they're doing a lot of coughing, so you're not able to do a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people have it so bad that they can't play sports. Now, we would just have to fight, you know, just a coughing battle, and it was always, you know, he could play, but it just slowed him down, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So thriving sports, that's pretty good. Or singing, you know, I say sports, and I mean that for, I'm thinking of like girls that may be into singing or whatever. Basically anything with physical activity. I don't know how to say that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So I would also say, if we look back up here to this kind of triangle, if you will, pyramid, the further up we go, the fewer and fewer our audience becomes. The lower on the pyramid that we are, the wider our audience is. So for instance, if we talk about reducing costs, like, hey, save time, save money, that's universal appeal across a wide range of audiences. If we go up here to talk about providing hope, motivation, affiliation, these are a narrower audience up there. So, so in the HVAC world, saving money, quick install, you know, all of these kind of like basic needs have the widest range of audience. If we hyper-focus into Jane, it's going to be very effective for reaching that Jane, but the wide audience is going to be narrowed to Jane and to her type. Okay. So business strategy wise, how does that feel to you? Does that feel like, you know, we still want to laser focus in on a Jane persona,
Hmm. Well, I guess here's how I think of that, and I may be totally wrong, but again, when I'm coming up with a target, that's
Mm-hmm.
who I'm gonna send like a direct. I'm just saying direct mail piece to.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeking her out, okay, but at the same time, if it's middle of summer and somebody's air conditioner breakdowns and they see our name, you know, I, I
Yeah.
still would think a person from the demand standpoint is going to call and still want to do business with us. They shouldn't be turned off from doing business with us. They may, not choose us, but you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Does
Mm-hmm.
that make sense, Mark?
Oh, absolutely. We can focus in on the Jane message as the primary front door message. And inherently, what's beautiful about your business's name, Scott, is that just as a logo or just as a name of the business, people are going to assume what you do and probably call you as a result of it. The message
Yeah.
itself, I think, is where you want to start really focusing in to draw more Janes to you, it sounds like. But heating
Yeah.
and cooling, that's pretty self-descriptive of what you do. What we want to do is
That's right.
elevate that above the commoditization of heating and cooling. We want to elevate your focus to the Janes, those high-end systems, those full installs that are solving real problems for families.
Yeah, that's right. Because that 7,000 on that replacement, there's people out there doing that for $4. There's $500 repairs. There's people out there for $100.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then going this route too is that's setting us apart. That's why we're different from the $100, $4,000 guy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And here too on that business name, I've got a couple ideas on changing that, but it would still be clearly identified. We do heating and air.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that matter now? Do we need to throw that in, or is that later?
Well, go ahead. Have you licensed any names or purchased any from the state, or is there just ideas at this point?
Right now, just ideas. I was kind of leaning toward something along the lines of ultimate air, ultimate comfort, something like one of those two is my number one, my go-to. That's what I keep going back to.
Mm-hmm.
I've had other names, but I've kind of whittled it all down to that right there.
Mm-hmm. Are either of those domains available?
Not like that right there. I'll have to put something else with it.
I wonder, that might be something for you to explore. Look here. My Ultimate Air. Oh, you said
Now,
Ultimate.
that may be available. Yeah, I just said ultimate air, but my ultimate air too, man, that's still pretty good on them.
Yeah, it looks like that one's purchased. My Ultimate Comfort. What I'm liking about the shorter ones, though, the fewer domains, myultimatecomfort.com is available. Ultimate Air, unavailable. Yeah, I might give that some thought. Even if you purchased a domain, so one thing you could consider, I know this is a bit beyond what we've explored thus far, is could you have myultimateair.com or myaffordablerair.com just be your primary front-facing website to service the existing message of those equipment replacements and service needs and just kind of the tried and true bread and butter, and then create a separate persona that's serviced by Ultimate Air that's a separate brand cross-linked at a totally different domain that's almost solely focused on Jane. And so the experience over there as you're directing, it could be, My Ultimate Air or My Kids Comfort. It's almost like two sub-brands within the same group. Something to consider. I don't think it's an absolute necessary, but I think it's an interesting thought is to have two separate domains and separate sites that connect to one another. They may talk to one another, but they are for a different purpose and a different audience.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to doing that if that works. I know sometimes Google is pretty picky on how they how things operate. So I guess as long as it went with their rules and didn't hinder search results, I'm okay with anything really.
Mm-hmm. Well, it could be that somebody like your Jane is searching for very different things than somebody who's searching for equipment replacement, simple, basic stuff. So the terms that
Yeah.
they're using in Google are very different. A Jane might
Mm-hmm.
be, why is my kid continuing to cough? And if you could position a paid search ad right there in that space, that could be an interesting message to place before her.
Now I do have a domain of nocoughing.com. I picked that up. I don't do anything with it. I purchased that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I've always thought about there could be something there as a site for, to learn more about why they're coughing and kind of explore indoor health is kind of what I thought. But but yeah, I do own that. I thought that was a pretty good one. Nocoughing.com. So
yeah, that could be. That could be as I could see that as a lead generating page for you that's very specific to that issue, and it offers a way for them to exchange a first name, email address in exchange for some resource that we could build for them that would really help them see the 6 reasons that their kid's continuing to cough. And number 1 through 5 could be all research-based from your experience with you and your wife. And the number 6 one could land on most homes have poor air quality and don't even realize it. Here's how you can know. Call this number for a free estimate or a free inspection, that type of thing. That's kind of like draws them into action.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's continue on here. And we're just over about 1 hour together. How are you doing? Do you need a 5-minute break?
Man, I should be good for a little bit.
Okay, let's do about another 10 or 15 minutes here. Then we'll take a 5-minute stretch break. I find that that's helpful just for our brains as well, because we're really burning some brain calories going through this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got Jane wants to be secure. What things are important to Jane? What does she want? If she's going to be secure, what needs to happen? And so far, we've got, let me blow this up a little bit for us. To enjoy a healthy home environment free from allergens, to live comfortably in her home with her children, to get to the root cause of what's keeping the kids up at night. If she's going to live secure, she needs to be able to get her children off the medication. If she's going to live secure, she needs to eliminate the triggers that cause asthma. See her children live well. And see her children thrive in sports. Is there anything else that is important to Jane?
I kind of was thinking about that control, just that she's in control of her home and her, and health and everything else that goes with that. Her home environment, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Feel in control of her home, be able to provide.
Yeah, and also we keep talking on sports, but I'm sure my kids aren't really. They're just in school age, but we homeschool, so it doesn't show up. But if you're sending your child to a school setting, I'm sure if they stayed up all night coughing, then obviously there's going to be some effects there. So that, so I don't know where we would put that, but so the child would struggle in the classroom.
You know what? I think that could be an element of failure.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, well, let's take a peek here. So we've got these 8. Can you see these 8, okay, Scott, of the want category?
Yes, sir.
Again, we're landing on secure. She wants to become secure. If that's going to happen, if Jane is going to be known as a secure person, a secure mother, a secure homemaker, a secure person, which of these desires is most important. I'll give you a chance to look through this, and then why don't we vote for 2, and if we need a third vote, that'll work as well. Kind of nominate, if you would, 2 of these that are the most important to Jane.
So the 2 that are most important to her.
Yeah, that most attention-grabbing, the most potent, if you will. That if she got this, she would be absolutely secure.
I mean, real quick, I'm thinking 4 and 8 would be the top 2.
Mm-hmm. Tell me why.
Well, I mean, any parent wants to be in control of their home. And then some of those others, again, I'm thinking from a my child's sick, I need more answers. Number 4 would resonate with me quicker than the others because I don't really know that. My house is clean, so it don't have, I guess that'd be something too we got to be careful of. And I don't know how to say it, but it's like a healthy environment or a clean environment. People are, especially the woman goes back, oh, I keep a clean house. Well, it's nothing to do with keeping a clean house.
Yeah, yep.
So in their mind, they thinking their house is clean, so my house is in order. So they may not realize from first look those others yet. So that's why I would go with 4 and 8 as a first line.
And I'm wondering, is 8 the number 1? Is that the primary? Because you said any parent wants to feel in control of their home.
Yeah.
Almost like, is that the universal across the board? Any homeowner wants to feel in control of their home. That makes them feel secure. And Jane could be cleaning this house with all of the Clorox and organic cleaners, and their kids are still coughing and having asthma attacks, and she's not getting to the root issue.
Yeah.
No matter what she does. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just thinking out of those 8, that one's going to be, I think that's it. And we may could tweak that to make it more, but at the same time, I think she's got to be in control. I mean, if you're not in control, then how are you secure at a home level? In your sanctuary. If you don't have control, then you have chaos, right? That's kind of the way I'm seeing it. But I'm also trying to look at it from a standpoint they don't realize that they're maybe not in control of their home. But they do know they're not in control of their child's health, because that's why they're looking for answers. So that's why I say we can tweak how we say that, but I think it's still based on control.
So, okay. So would it be safe to say that for Jane to feel secure, she needs to be able to predictably, confidently provide a home her family can well, I was going to say thrive in, but that's some of the reasons why we didn't go Sue's first 2.
Well, and I'm thinking she needs to be able to control her child's cough. And I think people understand when it's out of control. But I don't know how to identify how they're out of control, but I do get calls every now and then. I just can't, he won't quit coughing. I know there's something else to it. I know we've been to the doctors. There's just something else. So I know we get that. So I don't know how to.
So how do you handle that phone call? I mean, how do you handle that phone call if you have somebody calls you up, Jane calls you up, Scott says, listen, we've been to doctors, upon doctors for the last couple of years. Our kids still cough, or my child still coughs. We think we need to have something tested or something. I mean, what's your process for assessing a home environment?
Well, again, if they're calling me, then I guess now they do have a hunch that it may be something in the home. But yeah, I mean, in the conversation, I'm going to talk to them, and your house is a big factor. We spend 90% of our time indoors. I wish I did have more of a script for that, but I would just go into that, and we do that we can come out and look and actually see if the house or air conditioner or anything like that is contributing to it. And that's maybe where the particle scan. I like the particle scan because it's visual. They get to see everything.
Talk to me about that. What is the particle scan? What's the process of that? Is there a cost to that service?
So usually, here lately, what I've done, I've just kind of, oh, by the way, did you, we can do this, and it's just a short, quick process. And basically, you take a particle scanner in there, you take it in the house, right there where you change the filter, the air going in the unit, you get a reading, and then you go to one of the registers in the room, maybe in wherever the sick child is, and you test it, and you realize that there's not a whole lot of difference in the two readings. You got like 500,000 going in, you got 450 coming out. So right there, that's proven that their filter does not work. And then we've got a little demo filter that I put over the supply register, so the air's flowing out of that register through my demo kit, and then I'm testing it once it goes through those filters, and it's 0 particles. So that's the demo. I mean, that's obviously the short version, but it's just proven that that their filtration is not working, that they've got a lot of stuff in the air, and we do have a solution for that.
What's the cost of that?
From what I've been doing, it's just been I'm doing it for nothing. Because it's about a 7-minute process, and I'm there getting paid for something else. So it's not so I haven't had to charge for it. Now, if I were advertising it, I would almost like to keep it free, but almost, I don't know. It depends on what the strategy is.
Scott, this is a powerful lead generator for you, for this audience, to offer free particle scans, because Jane has a hunch. You need to give her metrics and data to prove that hunch out. And it seems like this puts gas on that flame for her.
Oh, yeah. That's what it is.
Before and after, and Jane say, oh, my gosh. I think this is going to be a key piece for us to hunt out. I think this could be a key part of your process. It might even start with a free step 1. Schedule a free particle scan. In this particle scan, we're gonna get take an accurate measurement of the hidden particles. I don't want to overuse that term, but the hidden allergens that may be in your air, and give you an accurate report to see what it would look like. Give you a clear picture of what it looks like. To resolve that, and what life could be like without it. And step 2, we're going to schedule an install, and we're going to be in and out in the amount of time that we give you. 1-day install, 10-day install, whatever that is. Step 3, it's back to the life they want to live. Confidently and securely provide them that home environment that they deserve. Every child deserves a loving and nurturing home, and now you can provide that to them. Really appeal to Jane's desires and motive there. Yeah. That's interesting. I thanks for telling me about that. I'm going to weave that in for sure to your message. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's do this, brother. Let's take a 10-minute or 5-minute break if we could, just to stand up. I'm going to use the restroom. I'm going to get another cup of Joe going here, and
Okay.
just about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll come back together. How's that sound?
Sounds good. I'll be back.
All right, good enough. Talk to you then.
Next level to Jane.
Yep. Yep.
And I think the name is still going to pick up, some of the others.
Exactly.
But I've been running this thing too long by myself. I'm out of gas, so I don't need tons and tons of customers. You don't need very many Janes to make a very, very good living.
Yeah. Well, if
we just spoke. Well, last week we sold a Jane job, and it was $25,000. I mean, there is.
Wow.
I mean, I hadn't done all the numbers yet, but you make plenty of money off of that to survive and thrive.
Yeah, that's a blessing. That is a blessing. You bet.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. You don't need, but well, let's say it like this: from a financial standpoint, you could do just one a week and be okay. But you'll need those others to keep busy. I guess would be the where those others would fall in.
Yep. Okay, well that's great. I just wanted to verify and validate as kind of the objective outside view. So let's differentiate with Jane. What's beautiful about hyper-focusing our message in that way is that you can be truly branded and known for, among the Jane communities, the place to go to solve that issue. Really identify and own that space. So I love it. Okay, so Jane wants to feel secure. In order for that to happen, she really needs to be in complete control of her home environment. The problem is, this is where the problem comes in. What is the problem that Jane's experiencing? External problem so far is that her problem is her kids are having constant asthma attacks, coughing, and wheezing. Problem is her children are staying up all night coughing. The problem is most people don't understand their home is making them sick. Problem is equipment is wearing out, needs to be replaced soon. Problem is asthma. What other problems does Jane have that are preventing her feeling in complete control?
I guess I was thinking of that. The scariest that I mean, think how to say it. I mean, basically, were those times that we had to go to the emergency room for an asthma attack. So I don't know how to incorporate that in there. I can't even think of how many times. One time's too many, but we started having once a season, say a fall and a spring season, we had to go to the emergency room. So, and usually, let's say this as a side note, when they got in the car and went to the emergency room, by then he was becoming, he was getting better. So by the time he got to the doctor, he wasn't even that bad.
Because the car filtration was better than the home filtration.
Well, no, the car is terrible, typically, but the windows are down.
Oh, cool air?
The car's probably one of them. Yeah. Just clean air coming through that car, or clean air. Outside air is cleaner than indoor air. And we're not in a big city, so we're not, we don't have the smoggy air, so.
Okay. So let's talk about the external problems. So the problem is what? Have we nailed it so far? Is it that our children are having asthma attacks and staying up all night coughing? Is that her primary issue?
I always kept going back to coughing because coughing, that you cough with, I didn't want to say asthma because, I don't have asthma, I just got allergies. Well, they're all really close to being the same thing on a,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So the coughing pretty much wraps them all up, and that's why I would go to the coughing.
So coughing is really the villain here. Coughing robs your family of sleep, rest, and harmony.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like coughing is
Yeah.
the issue.
Yeah.
That's the
Coughing
problem.
would be the. Yeah, I believe coughing would be the number one villain, like you said.
Yeah. The problem is coughing, which really makes Jane feel what?
Well, there's the fear, the hopeless, the doubt, all of that pops up because you can't really stop it.
Mm-hmm.
You can get on all the medicines to slow it down, but ultimately, if it's caused by that house, it will not go away.
So the problem could be she's tried all sorts of medicines, all
I'll
sorts
tell you
of
what we did. Treatments, yeah, because we went to the doctor. We did, and an allergist does our allergist did a skin test where he kind of pricked you with all kinds of different little allergens. And then there was 2 blood tests that they do. So that's kind of the initial test. I don't know if we need to. I don't know if that's too much information or what, but that's
No, but you should be printing coupons or certificates in really nice high-end graphics for those free particle scans and offering those to allergy doctors in your area to give out to their patients.
That's interesting. I've tried to. When I was first in all this, I tried to talk to our doctor, and he shot me down really, really quick.
Really?
Yeah, he shot me down. Yeah.
How so?
And I talked to some. Well, I talked to another guy. It's an older guy. They've already sold their business, and he's on to other things now. But when they were in business, they were getting into this. Not exactly how I'm doing it, but basically the air quality side. And he paid for appointments with different allergy doctors in town, and pretty much and set up an appointment and said, "Hey, here's how I can help. Are you interested?" Nobody took him up. One did tell him, "How would you feel if I come to you and said, hey, something along the lines of I can keep all your customers cool without you?"
I see.
That was his response.
So
Yep.
his business, he needs people to be repeat back to him, and some doctors get paid on the prescriptions that they write. There is a backdoor revenue stream for that, so maybe that's a motivator too for them to stay in the system, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, we'll go around them then, and we'll get you a Google AdWords campaign that's centered around the same terms that people would use to search for an allergy doc, but it will position our page front and center as the top paid search result when somebody does look for that. And if we do if we do this correctly, we might end up Google indexing in that same family of pages anyway, that people would be looking for an allergy doc. That's
and that was the first try very early on. Not to say that we couldn't have other conversations, and that would be the easy way, no doubt. But he, from what he said, he knew a lot, or he was a know-it-all on even the home side of it. And he didn't, but that was his perception, was he was a know-it-all. So, but eventually we would want to talk to those. That would be another lead source. But at this time, I think we need to go around them.
Yeah, no problem. We could do that. And even nowadays with social media, when people start searching for allergy doctors, you can also there might be ways that we could access that demographic. So with like Facebook paid ads, you could say people who are interested in allergy doctors, those are the types of people that we want to position our HVAC ads in front of. And so as people are
Yeah.
searching for that, you could just put myaffordableair.com right in front of them.
Yep.
So there's different ways around that, but it would be best, of course, if the doctor said, here's a recommendation for you. But I understand that it might be a tough conversation. But okay, so let's look here. So she wants to feel in complete control. The problem is she's tried all sorts of treatments, and the coughing still continues to rob her family of sleep, rest, and harmony. It makes her feel what? Hopeless that her home will never be healthy? Doubt in her ability to provide a reliable comfort? Scared? Does she feel inadequate as a mother?
Yeah. Back on that hopeless. I mean, that could go many different ways. Hopeless that it won't solve the cough. Hopeless that the home won't be hopeless that we may have to sell the home. Hopeless we may end up finding mold in it and cost thousands of dollars to remediate. So I think a lot of people are scared at what they will find once they realize it's their home. I think the next big thing is, oh my gosh, how much is this going to cost?
Yeah, the cost of it. Let me see here.
Yeah.
I've got a. Sometimes I find this to be helpful, Scott. Let me pull this up for us. It's on my whiteboard. It's a feelings list. So this, I don't know if you've ever seen something like this, but it's just a long list of all different words that describe different feelings.
Okay.
Let me just read some of these to you and see if any of them connect. So just pause. I'm just going to start reading. You just pause me when you hear something that says, oh, that's Jane. Terrified, petrified, panicked, frozen, threatened, hateful, fearful. I think we said fearful was in there.
Yeah, fearful. Yeah.
Disturbed, disrupted, anxious.
Probably anxious, yeah.
Anxious how? When will the next coughing spell start? When?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be the winds are going to start, or anxious. They're looking at the weather and, oh my gosh, look at it. Look at all these thunderstorms. you start seeing what triggers it. Weather triggers this. Weather is a big trigger.
Or seasons.
And that's where season, spring, we got, there's the pollen counts up. Oh my goodness, look at all the pollen all over everything. Yeah, anxious at the different weather patterns. Anxious, I think you could be anxious about a lot of it. The cost, what are they going to find?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do? As far as moving, selling, tearing it down, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Nervous, scared, worried.
Yeah, I think all of those can play. Nervous and anxious.
Yep.
Would probably be the same. All that's, I guess, a spinoff of anxious.
Restless. Is she restless because her kids aren't rested?
Oh, yeah.
So she stays up night staring at the ceiling every time she hears her. I know my wife, she jumps out of bed every time she hears the kids. It seems like our kids are 9 and 5, but she still jump right out of bed when she hears them, coughing all night or whatever. She's got this mom radar.
Oh, yeah. Anytime there's a kid makes a sound, a mom typically going to be on the lookout.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uptight, apprehensive, defensive, guarded, troubled, unbending, immobile, attached, self-conscious, insecure. Any of that?
There may be some insecurity there.
Yeah, I mean, she wants to
Yeah,
be.
insecurity. Yeah, and I was thinking, I mean, yeah, obviously if you can't help your kid, you're gonna be insecure. But like insecure, if your kid's got, just picture your kid having snot on his face all the time. You know, that's kind of what I thought of when you said insecure. You know, we all know those kids that no matter what you do, I got one. No matter what I do, you know, we're wiping noses. So,
Or worse yet, it's the collection on their sleeves, right? It's their T-shirt collection, the crusty T-shirts.
That's right. So yeah.
So that would be embarrassed, right? That'd be embarrassing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Hesitant, distracted, blushing. Yeah. Okay. Does Jane trust her? She doesn't know that she doesn't trust her house yet, does she? Does she distrust her house?
She's probably getting there. She's like I said, if they're calling me and entertaining me, I think they don't know fully, but I think they have a hunch.
Started to doubt their house, become skeptical of their house.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look here. So what I like to do, you had some great ideas to jumpstart this, Scott, but what I always like to do is I like to go a little bit further and just push on them before we land on what is the top idea. Okay. So again, it's the coughing that's robbing her family of sleep. She wants to feel complete control, but sadly, her family's up all night coughing. And she's tried all sorts of treatments, but it still continues. It makes her feel what? So look at 1 through 10 here, and maybe vote for the top 2 or 3. Which of these are the most potent to me? Go ahead.
If you're going to say she's out of control, then my number 1 would be hopeless.
Yeah.
Hopeless and scared would be. Yeah, I mean, scared and hopeless probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fear. I mean, you got fear up there, so fear, scared. You know that type. I think the fear would lead to the anxious and all that. So I'm gonna go with hopeless and the fear. The number 1 and 2 that we've got would be your top ones.
Okay. We can do that. Hopeless and fear are the top ones. Our okay. And for all the same reasons, I think maybe we're saying a lot of the same things down here, but these are some of the descriptions for that. So
yeah.
So Jane wants to feel in complete control of her home environment. That would make her feel secure. Problem is, her family's coughing. Kids are coughing. Robs their family of sleep, rest, and harmony. Can really leave Jane feeling hopeless. Hopeless that it'll ever change.
Mm-hmm.
Will the coughing ever go away?
Will they ever grow out of it?
Will they ever stop? Yeah, will it ever stop? Will they grow out of it?
So that's the answer we get as having small kids. Oh, they'll just grow out of it. But then that's when I got to looking at it on my end, and I've got it, and I don't know that it ever got diagnosed as a kid, but I'm paying attention to myself, and you don't outgrow. Well, I ain't gonna say you won't outgrow any of it, but you know, I think if your house is aggravating something, it's probably going to continue to aggravate it until you remove the allergens. So.
Okay, so she's feeling a sense of hopeless at this point, fear that it's ever going to change. Philosophically, why is that just plain wrong? That should never happen. So far, we've got Philosophically, no child should have to breathe into a breathing machine or suck an inhaler to get a good night's sleep. Philosophically, you deserve a home that's a sanctuary where you get to be comfortable and rest. Philosophically, your air conditioner is the lungs of your house, and moving everything around. Philosophically, medicine only masks the real issue. Philosophically, your life is riddled with battle-torn asthma environments. Your home shouldn't be one too. Philosophically, every homeowner deserves to have complete control of their home. Other statements that might resonate there with our Jane.
Something about maybe every mom, every parent should be able to help their kid. Stop them from coughing. Every parent deserves to help their children breathe easy, breathe free, breathe.
Philosophically, no parent wants to lose sleep over their children not breathing or
coughing. Just lose sleep over their child coughing. Oh man, I had one and I just.
Yep.
I was trying to come up with one along the lines of maybe using anxiety. That's a word that may trigger solving some of her problems, her medical problems. No parents should have to deal with the anxiety of whether today or tonight's the night we go back to the emergency room.
Mm-hmm. Philosophically, every child deserves a good night's sleep.
Yeah, that's pretty simple.
And a parent would resonate with that, like, yes, my children deserve that. They should have that. They're not getting that, and I don't know what's wrong. Like philosophically, would a phrase like that get every parent emboldened to say, yeah, you're right. We got to do something about that.
Yeah, I think that's a catch-all there. I think everybody would agree.
So let's pick a potent here. Which one's our most potent out of this list? Is it that one, or is it others? Let me see. Let me start us over from one.
Yeah, I would think that would be probably the. Yeah, man, that boils it down right there. To, I think it covers all the others. Maybe that number 6. I like the control aspect, but it may be too vague. I guess it may have a spot in a marketing, but it may be too vague. But I think 9 gets down to the point better than all. Number 2 is pretty good. I just think 9's kind of stands out.
Got that punch to you, especially to the Jane. It would make Jane so uncomfortable that she's got to take action.
Yeah, I think that would be I think that's, I don't know that there's that's going to be number 1, and the other kind of support it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I like it. So let me just kind of verbally try this on for us just to give us a sense of where we're at. So at Affordable Heating and Cooling, we understand that you, Jane, want to feel secure. You want to be a secure person. You know, if that to happen, you need to be in complete control of your home environment, which includes controlling your children's cough. Problem is, you've tried all sorts of treatments, and the problem still consists. The coughing is robbing your family of sleep, rest, and harmony. And it can really leave you feeling hopeless that your home will ever be healthy or that the coughing will ever stop. Well, at Affordable Heating and Cooling, we believe every child deserves a good night's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
How does this message feel so far, Scott?
Yeah, well, I think we're on the right track.
So we would say something like, at Affordable Heating and Cooling, we believe every child deserves a good night's sleep, which is why, and now we position ourselves as the guide. So to this point, it kind of cracks open Jane's story. She leans in, and now we position ourselves as the guide to help her story end successfully. This is where the empathy and the authority come out.
Okay.
So, I mean, the message to this point, any other feedback on that before we move on into empathy and authority?
No, I think that's, yeah, I mean, I think we're right there on that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I'll take, of course, I'll take some time. I'm just verbally kind of giving you kind of a hip shot of much of this. I'll take some time to really watch the copy, but kind of in block form, that's kind of the essence that we're landing on here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what yeah,
so now with empathy and authority, so these are two ingredients that position your brand as the guide. Empathy, you know what it's like to go to the emergency room in the middle of the night. Your son suffered from asthma too. This is really part of your bio, and I think it's a powerful part of your bio. You've gone through these issues yourself. Another way to display some empathy is to show others that are like them, that have been, their problems have been solved. So let's talk through some of these maybe testimonials or other clients that you've worked with. Some of this could be from your family, but let's talk about some of the other testimonials that we might have over the years of you guys doing business for the last 20 years. Is there anything else that comes to mind that would be an empathy statement or something that would be similar to what Jane's dealing with?
Yeah, I've got to get these all put together. One comes to mind. I had a customer. We just did a normal, regular air conditioner replacement. I knew his child had asthma, so I said, "Hey, won't you just keep this air cleaner here, because it's going to be a week before we got there." So I said, "All right, just hang on to it for this week, and when we get back, put that new unit in. And if you don't want it, we'll take it back, no problem." And so we replaced the unit, and he says, "You know what? I don't feel like it helped her in any way, so we're gonna pass on it." I said, "Okay, no problem." So I loaded it up. The next morning, he calls and says, "My goodness, she woke up coughing. I want the thing back."
Oh boy.
So there you go. So we got that, and I've got quite a couple of them like that. I mean, so we got that. We got I got another guy that I got to call today or tomorrow, and they've already told me similar. Is they got one of their youngest child. Definitely, they can see the allergies have almost went away.
What is that called? You said you left an air cleaner there. I'm not familiar. Does that affix to their HVAC unit, or is that a standalone?
No, not this one. That's that room air purifier, though. That's in those product offerings that I gave you. That's the room air purifier. That's a portable unit. Basically, they can put it wherever they want it.
Uh-huh.
So that doesn't attach to the unit. It's just, that's portable. And that's really the only ones that I've sold lately that I've got any feedback on. We just did the whole house the other day, and I haven't got any feedback yet.
Okay.
We've got numbers saying that it works, but we haven't, an experience on it working. So
talk to me about the numbers side. Tell me about some of the data that exists. Again, maybe you kind of repeat some of those numbers to me that we've discussed. How many? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'll tell you like this: at that customer's house, the one we just left last week, I tested the particles going in his unit and the particles coming out of his room air purifier that he bought. And it was, I forget the numbers now. It's like 60 going in and 55 coming out. So he spent $200 or $300. I think he said $200, and whatever that math is, percent change, which is not very good.
I want to check for a minute. So 55 coming out, 60 going in. That's only about an 8.5% improvement.
Yeah.
So I don't want to pull the numbers too deeply, but 92%, let's call it, of harmful particles are not ever caught by your furnace's filter.
Well, no, that particular is, and that's true too there. Usually it's about 15 to 20% on the air conditioner itself. But that particular number was he had a room air purifier. A cheap one that he had bought. On that particular scenario I just gave you. The 60 going in, 55 coming out. Where when we test ours, you got whatever going in, whatever the room is, 60 going in, and you'll have 0 coming out. So that's 100%.
Well, probably can't say 100%, but you could say like 99.9 or some number, right? I know 0 is probably what you measured, but it almost feels more, I don't know. Is 99.9% more believable than 100? I don't know. I guess that was my initial reaction.
I don't know. I mean, I can prove it. It said 0, so.
Okay, I got you.
And maybe that way we can say we can prove it. You can see for yourself, something along those lines.
Okay, something like this. Either we say 8% of particles are caught by your system, our system catches 100%, or 92% of harmful air particles are not caught by your filter system, our system leaves 0% behind. Something like that, either side of that coin. Yep.
Yeah.
What about children? I wonder about how many, and I know we're not a medical office, but how many children suffer from allergy? Maybe it's allergies or asthma. You know what I mean?
I think from our asthma, I had all this research. This spring I got into it real good, and summertime I've gotten away from it. I want to say 20-25% of all children have it.
Of asthma?
Yeah. Maybe that may be wrong. Maybe it's not that. Maybe not asthma.
Oh, we could say 25 million Americans have asthma. Because what that is actually 7.7% of adults and 8.4% of children. Those numbers aren't big enough to be startling, but 25 million Americans suffer from asthma. I think that is what do you think?
Yeah, that's a big number. That sounds good.
Yeah, suffer from asthma. You kind of feel where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
What about allergies? See that?
I think everybody suffers from allergies, but I don't know a specific number.
Food. We're talking seasonal allergies, not just food.
Yeah, you don't want to get in the food and
Right.
respiratory.
Yeah, 24. Asthma affects 24 million people. Oh, more than 50 million Americans suffer from allergies each year. That's a Google statistic.
Yeah, there you go.
So more than 50 million.
Okay.
Hear those chickens.
Yeah.
Rooster chicken. Y'all have a farm there?
No, I just got, there's about 20 chickens out there.
Okay.
I thought they were far enough away you couldn't hear them, but.
You guys, you raise bees too, or do honey? Beehive?
No, we don't do any of that.
I've heard that's
Just
good
kids
for
and
asthma or
chickens.
for allergies. You know.
Yeah, we would do that. That was part of our little thing. We'd buy local honey.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to help, but it wasn't a fix.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's pivot back to our empathy. Any other statements that we could say that been there, done that, got the T-shirt for it? You got your own story here, Scott. Your own testimony.
Yeah.
And did you say this was your son?
Yeah, I've got a son that has the asthma. I've got one of my daughters. She don't have anything diagnosed, so I don't ever talk about her, but she always has something going on. But she don't have anything diagnosed like asthma, so it's I don't really say anything about it, but I always but we've had really good success of solving her coughing.
Yep.
So I don't know how you would weave that in, but
well, I'm just harvesting data.
I've had I got 5 kids. All 5 have had some kind of respiratory issue at some point, and it has been clearly reduced by, moving the air cleaner in their room, so.
Yep. Talk to me about the Jane persona. We talked about Jane and your family really representing that, but I mean, what are some of the attributes? Like, you guys are active in sports. Are you active in the community? Do you volunteer? Do you attend a church? Some of the things we talked about Jane doing? What are some of those things that kind of make Jane feel like you're just like her?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a community like we should, and I see that being a big help for business also. I mean, that's the business side of it. But the church, the sports, that's really where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm. And you volunteer in any of these capacities? What I'm envisioning is, hey, we volunteer in our local community, or some phrase like that somewhere in your marketing.
No.
Yep. Just in
no, we
church
don't. But what I was gonna, as supporting the community, that's where I'd almost kind of want to do the, maybe mention orphans, because we adopt and we do give to those kind of organizations.
Mm-hmm. Which means you understand the importance of family, and which is what's important to Jane, right?
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I got a friend of mine. He's a trainer in the business, and he always, in his church, a lot of folks ask him to, opinions on air conditioners and things. So like I said, he was in the business, but they sold, and now he's a trainer. So, and he'll give this instance, he gave my name and another name. Really, there's two companies in town that kind of doing this. Me and another one. They're not doing this specifically, but they're on the same track. They're just not really talking about it. Let's say it like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives those, and we're both a part of the organization that he teaches at. So, but then he tells them about me and a little bit about my story about having 4 kids and then adopting the 5th. And that job specifically we got because of that story.
Is that right?
So yeah, that's why I said, I mean, I'm not one to go, we do this, we do that, look at us. But he kind of convinced me of, well, that's your story, whether you like it or not. You didn't do that for business gain, but that's your story. People relate to it, and they're going to do business with people like them, or that they see value in, I guess.
Yeah, that's completely it. I mean, Jane, nobody wants to be sold a heating or cooling unit. They love to buy it from people that they trust. And when we could just gently and not overdo it, it's like salt in the recipe. You don't want to put a cup of salt in a batch of cookies, but you do want to have a little teaspoon of salt in there to give some contrast to the flavor. Jane wants to know that we want to help with clarity, help Jane trust you quickly and first, path of least resistance. And sometimes dropping some of these, like in your bio or profile, is helpful to her. Yep. So we can work with that. And again, well, I can use certain elements of this. I think primarily it's about you guys going through that story yourself and having suffered asthma attacks and overcome it with better quality air. That's ultimately the need they could solve. But some of these others filter into that as well. Make sense? Okay.
Yep.
I do like any other data you think could be helpful. Startling statistics or data, like the 50 million Americans suffering from allergies, 25 million suffering from asthma, other data that would make Jane feel like she's not alone in this.
Yeah, I was working on a report, so and I kind of did it as a lead generator, is where I was going with that. So I've got some of that I can send you. But the biggest one, and is 90%. Let's see, hang on. How do we say that? We spend 90% of our time indoors. That's in your home, in your work, school, cars. And that indoor environment is 2 to 5 times worse than outside air. And that's EPA data there, so I can definitely back it up.
Yeah, we may want to have some of those, references, citations that we can kind of include with that.
Yeah, and then you can, if you start digging, like, so I spent a lot of time. I hadn't done it as much lately on all of this air quality stuff, so I get Google sends me tons of data or articles on that, and I think there's a from what it looks like, there's a lot of ailments that can be solved that we're not even talking about here. That's due to indoor air pollution. So, so I mean, I think data and statistics and things like that, I think they're as however you want to say it, I think we can back it up.
Yeah, I just quick Googled this one here too. 48% of child asthma sufferers experience disturbed sleep as a result of their asthma. So there you have it.
I think that's low. I think 100% of them disturb sleep.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting though. Yeah, so I think that will probably become a strong asset to us. These data points that we can include, because it will validate a suspicion that Jane has with independent research. Okay, now let's talk a bit about authority. For instance, I think you had my son has suffered asthma attack for 2 years, or has not suffered an asthma attack in 2 years. We know eliminate the triggers that cause the child's asthma and wheezing. Other authority data points could be how many families have you served over the last 20 years or 23 years?
Man, I don't know any way to tell that. I mean, we're a small company, so I think anybody could one-up us on that.
Well, it just has to be a true data point for you. This isn't a jumpstart company. I mean, you've been around for some time, so we could say for nearly 23 years since 1997. Another way we could say it is, rounded to the nearest hundreds, how many would you estimate of clients that you've had over the 23 years?
Man, shoot, I don't even know, man. I don't know.
Multiple thousands?
Yeah, I mean, you would, on average, I mean, like I said, I don't know what Dad did back then, man, but it's always kind of been him and then me and him. I know now I do about 300 houses, or so just say he did 300 to 500, I mean, times 23 years, so
that's like over 6,000. So if we said, and some of those would be repeat.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we said thousands of families served, that's accurate and fair, right? There's multiple thousands, whether it's 5 or 6 or 10 or somewhere in that zone, or thousands of installs.
Yeah. Maybe hundreds on installs. Hundreds of installs and neighborhoods just like yours, something like that.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In and around your neighborhood.
Yep. You're licensed in Alabama, licensed in Georgia. Are there other certifications or licenses or programs that we should elevate that, hey, you've gone through this training?
Yeah, two of the key ones that I keep active, I mean, I've had all kinds of certifications, but the two active is from the National Comfort Institute. I'm trying to think of what those are. System Performance, I can't remember the name of it. System Performance certification, and a combustion safety certification. That's them.
The NCI, this is it?
Yep.
Okay, so we got the System Performance.
Yeah.
And then what was the other one?
Combustion safety.
Is there any program certification related to air quality, allergens, anything that anybody on your team has gone through or could go through?
There's just not much out there for air quality. Now at least on our end, I mean, you can be all kinds of certified and other, but not necessarily pertaining to the heating and air side of it.
Who's your Oh, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I had one. It's called BPI, Building Performance Institute, but I'm technically not certified in that. Yeah, I was a building analyst, but to keep that designation up, I don't know how anybody keeps it up. You just had to be sold out for that business, and and really couldn't be an add-on business. So we didn't keep it. Now we do that all day, every day. But I don't know.
Who's the that 60 million or billion particles and 55 million, and then you did yours, and then it was 0? What is that again? Was that a filter or a air filter system?
Yeah, yes, IQ Air is the brand of that. So yeah, I mean, I guess technically we could be certified for that. It's not a certification, but
IQ Air. Are you a certified dealer?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're certified dealers, so I guess we're certified in that sense.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about here. So, IQ Air dealer.
Mm-hmm.
Any other certifications like that? And that might be pretty good. The licensing might be not a unique differentiator, but some of these certifications I think would be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got 100 different logos they can put on something, but those are that National Comfort Institute's that's a pretty substantial designation there. Like I said, there's only 2 of us in our area that do that, and I'm the only IQ Air dealer. I mean, that's all I have officially, I guess.
The IQ Air dealer, you're the only where? In how far of a radius?
I know in our area, I would say at least the 50 mile. I think it may be in the whole state of Alabama. There may be somebody in Georgia, up around Atlanta, and that would be about 100 miles from us.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I could get on there and look at that. It seems like I have looked at it, but I can't remember the terms.
So you're the exclusive. Do you have exclusive rights, or are you just currently the only one registered?
I think just I'm the only one registered right now. I think they'll let somebody else.
Have you filed with the BBB? Is that part of your local marketing?
No, I hadn't done anything with the. I guess we do have it, but it's not. That's not a. You don't hear that much around here. Or maybe I'm ignorant to it, but.
Yeah, it could be. Let's see. So Phoenix City. Just look. I'm looking on their website. Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't see a. Is it Silicaga? There's a Affordable Heating and Air LLC, but that's not you guys, is it?
Yeah, it's not us. That's a good ways away.
Yep. Yeah, I don't see a direct profile there. Sometimes, and we'll see. I mean, maybe this is more of a website conversation, but sometimes it's helpful to list these certifications in icon format. And with the Better Business Bureau, depending on your area, I'm sure there's different costs, but it's usually around $300 or $400 to get a profile set up with them. And as long as there's no complaints, you get an A+ rating. And to be able, not necessarily that people are asking for it, but if you proactively show them that you're Better Business Bureau A+ rated, because there are no complaints, it's kind of a nice tool just to kind of accelerate that trust with them, even though they may not even thought to ask about that, nor have they thought about your certifications necessarily. You're showing them how well qualified you are proactively. So just an idea for the future on that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay, so what I'm really liking are these thousands of families served. I think that's a strong data point. And then we'll lean into the certifications on the National Comfort Institute, the system performance and combustion safety, along with the you're the only IQ air dealer in the area. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. How we doing? Do you need a break? Are you going strong?
Yeah, man, I'm good. What we trying to stop at about 12 or so? Is that right? Or what's the?
I've got us. Are you on Eastern time right now?
Yeah, I'm Eastern.
Yep. I've got us going till I think 11:30.
Okay.
Oh no, I see. I'm sorry. That's right. We got up to 12, so we're in good shape.
Okay.
Yep.
So I should be good for a few more minutes.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's jumpstart some ideas here on our process plan, and then let's take a little bit of a stretch break, and then we'll come back together for it. So, the process plan. This is kind of a step 1, step 2, step 3. If you recall from the book, it's a kind of a how to do business with affordable heating and cooling. So, when somebody calls you up, what's the process that they become a client? Just kind of talk me through that a little bit. From your work so far that I picked up, you said schedule your home health or healthy home inspection today. Just kind of talk me through this a little bit, Scott. How does somebody become a client for you?
Or just, I guess, yeah, but I guess depending on the need, obviously. So if you're calling from a health standpoint, I guess you would call to schedule I guess we could find a fun word to describe that, in-home health evaluation or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or healthy home evaluation, I think. Yeah, healthy home evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
And then
what takes place there? When somebody has a healthy home evaluation, what does that mean? What does that entail?
that would be that particle scan that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
That and probably what we would even do before. Well, I don't know. If they called just for that, we'd probably go out there, do that, show them our findings. No, I backed that up. I guess we'll just do the regular sales process. So we're out there. You build the rapport with them. You're going to ask a lot of questions, and then do the particle scan, and then that's your particle scan and any other kind of information, technical data gathering, whether that be, condition of the AC system, the particle scan, things like that. And then that's where then after that, you would present, findings and prices.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And options.
Yeah, we got different options, different packages.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Jane calls you up. She phone calls in or fills out a web form. Is that true? And says, I'd like to talk to somebody. And does it start with a phone call or does it start with a visit?
I guess we would, hang on a second, I had a text, my goodness. Hang on, sorry about that. Let's see.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so once they call us, the way I got my phone system set up right now, I call them back, we set the appointment. And then we go out and then we do all that.
Okay.
What we just talked about.
Yeah, on the phone, I'm just thinking about the early step here. When Jane is first talking to you for the very first time, is there anything that you discuss with her other than scheduling and calendar time?
We may ask her a few basic questions.
Uh-huh. Such as?
I don't know what they would be, but just something to maybe to see the urgency, is it how urgent is it? How severe is the I guess the health of the whoever they're calling about.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing really in depth, but just basic rapport building.
Mm-hmm. So just get a basic understanding, and then from there you kind of qualify. Okay, well, I think the next step for us is to have a visit, to come out to the house and take a look at it ourselves.
Yeah,
This is when you do the healthy home inspection.
that's right.
Evaluation, which is
Yeah.
more questions, particle scan, technical data gathering. Then you present the options and prices.
Yeah.
Okay. But it starts with a phone conversation, then a site visit. Then she selects from that the options that are available to her, and then you begin to work. When somebody actually engages you for work, what happens then? So she signs an agreement. Do you schedule the install time right then and there?
Yeah, typically we can schedule it right then and there. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, we'll schedule it right then and there, and then yeah, and then I guess we could arrange financing right at that point.
Mm-hmm.
If they need it. But basically, you're scheduling that appointment, and that's that till we get there.
Who does the install? Is it Patrick?
Yeah, Patrick is my guy for that.
Okay. Okay, and is the team still the three of you?
No, my dad is retired.
Okay.
And depending on the scope of that work, Patrick may not be the person there. So I don't know if we need to put names in there.
Yeah, I understand. Our team.
Yeah, because I got two different guys, and they're the reason why I say not names because technically they're subs. They're not employees.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, I've been dealing with them for over 10 years. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so they're not strangers either. So I hate using that word sub because that to me sounds like a stranger.
Yeah, they're part of the team. Yeah, they're part of your team.
So team would be okay.
What's the other guy's name?
Mike White is my other guy.
Okay. One thought with Jane, I don't know if this is the case in your area, but sometimes you contract with like a roofing company, and the salesperson is really, really pleasant. And then all of a sudden you get sent a crew that looks nothing like the salesperson or is totally like the not the same brand experience. And so you become a little leery of, okay, so one thing around our area is, okay, who's going to actually do the work? Am I going to have a chance to interact with the installers themselves? Jane doesn't want to have just some random person walking into her house either. So your current website has, I think, bios or at least images of the team. Might be worth getting a headshot of Mike as well and just saying, hey, it's going to be one of our friendly installers, and here's who they are, or something like that.
Yeah.
So he knows when.
Yeah. Now I do that. I when I'm communicating with them, yes, Patrick and whoever's with him at that time, whoever's helper is, and then Mike, who he's got with him too. I kind of, hey, yeah, they're on the way, or they'll be the ones there, you know, something. I try to give them a heads up with names.
Yep. Yeah, so they're like an install leader or something like that, you call it. You know, so that so whoever they're leading, they're bringing a team with them, but it's that crew. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, let's do this. Let's take a 5-minute stretch break. I could use a restroom break, and then we'll jump in when we come back. Mike in Scott in about 5 minutes. We're finishing talking about Mike. When we're talking Scott in the next 5 minutes, we'll finish up the process plan. We'll clarify our calls to action, and we'll wrap it up with success and failure. We're actually probably at the 10-yard line, believe it or not, because of all the previous conversation that we've had. I know it's been a couple hours we've been investing here, but we're making some really good progress.
Okay. All right.
All
Good.
right.
All
okay.
right. Back in 5.
In
Thanks.
just a few minutes. You got it.
Yes, sir. That does financing, and we don't qualify on value. So yeah, I thought about that. Not opposed to that, especially if I could get them on a maintenance agreement or something like that, and
Yeah.
you know, kind of roll it in together.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I think some might appeal to that, but I'd give that some thought. But either way, I mean, that doesn't impact the message directly right now. But the idea of an agreement plan is this idea of any objection that they might have, finding some agreement you can make with them in advance that kind of overcomes that objection. It's kind of like the 100% customer satisfaction guarantee, or financing that's available for payments. If they say, well, I can't afford it, well, the solution that we offer, the agreement, is we have a payment plan. Or if they say, I doubt that this will work, this is where we have like a 30-day trial period for filters.
Yeah.
This is the type of thing that we're talking about here, is, overcoming those objections with a kind of a difference. And now we can make this the affordable heating and cooling advantage common law trademark, and we could have just a list of these different agreements that you're offering.
Yeah.
That's a later idea that we could explore.
Well, and that's something that's been on my list also, was to come up with some guarantees.
Mm-hmm.
And that would fall into it. Satisfaction, whatever, just trial period and satisfaction guarantees and things like that. Performance guarantees.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, let's make this a piece of homework if you'd like. Come up with a list of objections for me, if you would. Maybe a list of reasons why people back away from the purchase table or don't do business with you. Come up with the list of the reasons why people don't, and then I'll begin to explore different assertions that we can make, or different agreements that we can offer that would overcome that. And then we could take a look at that list together and say, okay, does this make sense for you?
Okay. All right. I've got there's one guy that I study. I get a lot of this IQ Air thing from him. He was a big dealer. And one of his number one sayings, and I think this applies to any business, is it's always about price until you make it about something else. And so I'm like, well, that's profound. I mean, that's really simple, but and my name makes it about price before they even call me. So I think that's my number one. That's number one objection. That would be number one on my objection list. So. So, and how we can overcome that, I think Ultimate Air does that. But anyway.
Yeah, but for 23 years, you've had a name as well. That's kind of a known name out there. So I understand that tension, though. I definitely get it.
Well, that's another conversation. We can talk about that. But
okay, so our 3-step plan: request a call, because it all starts on the phone with you. Then you tell them step 2 now is a healthy home evaluation, where you come into the home, actually do the particle scanning, find those hidden triggers. And step 3, get them on the path to sleeping well. So
sleep well, stop coughing.
Sleep well and stop coughing. Yep. So then our direct call to action is probably request a call. So if there's a button on our website, if there's a first step that you want them to take, it is the step 1, request a call. That gets the process started. Do you see how that works? So the step 1, step 2, step 3. So the direct call to action is circle right back to step 1, request a call. So does that make sense to you, that it would start with a phone conversation with you? Whether it's a web form? Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
And in the meantime, transitional call to actions exist. These could be those lead generating PDFs. This could be like nocoughing.com. This could be, I'm half tempted. I don't know how you feel about this. That particle scan, if we just offered that particle scan as a free in-home particle scan, I wonder if that is a good lead generator too. It's also step 2 of your process, but they don't know that up here.
Yeah. I thought that would be a lead generator, but I figured if you did I forget even the term of it now, but if you were doing a lead generation type campaign where they signed up for something, just say that reasons your child's coughing PDF, so they want to download that. Well, then day 2, maybe something else, day 3, something else, day 4, now they're not scared of me. Hey, now here's something we can come to your home. So I have thought about that, and that I guess that's where it would play. It would be like, at least talk to them a couple times before that came out, unless they made the call and we talked. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
that lead generation, I guess that's you're not talking to them. You're emailing them. Is kind of how I looked at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess email is a little less personal, so you'd want to take your time. Is my thought behind that. That's I'm on the right track.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So typically, a lead generating PDF or a transitional call to action would be exactly what you just described. It's a PDF download of an article or a checklist. It could be like the healthy home checklist, or the allergy-free home assessment, something like this. That is maybe 10 or 15 areas that you just have them check through.
Yeah.
What's that?
Well, you were talking about the different names. I've got a document called the no-fly zone that we would add to that. It's just like different household items that most people use that would, if you're trying for a healthy home, that'd be on the no-fly list. You don't use those. So we got material, I guess is what I was getting at.
Yeah, and so then we would follow that up with a story-branded email sequence that's brand script aligned. Typically, it's a 4 or 5-part email sequence. The first one is delivery of the document. The second one could be testimonials. The third one could be common objections. Fourth one could be, every one of them has a theme, and then I actually copyright the sequence that leads to the final, which is the sales letter, if you will. A brand script aligned sales letter and sales email. So it is kind of exactly as you described. It kind of warms somebody up when they're not ready to commit to hiring you. It's kind of a step-by-step process to warm them up to do that. And we could have multiples of these. In fact, this could be where your more traditional brand script also comes out, meaning the other items that we have down here. How to lower your utility bills, or utility bill calculator could be one where they plug in some of their current figures, and then in order to get the actual calculation, they got to put a first name and email address in, and then it pops up what they could save if they come through and put a new system in. Equipment life estimator, or 6 ways to extend your equipment life. That could be a lead generating PDF that somebody downloads. And so if we have 2 or 3 of these different lead generating kind of funnels, what's interesting is that when somebody accesses the how to extend your equipment life PDF, they kind of self-identify as their target market, right? That's their persona, is that they've got kind of used equipment. So we can customize the email sequence to meet them there. And the same thing for our Jane Smith. If it's all about allergies, we could customize the email sequence for her. Yep. Those are all services that I provide and offer. I'm just thinking, in the meantime, as I think through what are some low-hanging fruit, easy, quick return lead generators that you've already got from what we've discussed, that particle scan seemed to kind of elevate up to the top of being a free thing that we could offer as a stepping stone for them.
Right.
Yep, so I'd give that some thought. Let's talk through as well. Any other questions on that, by the way, before we move on?
No, not for this conversation. I was going to say and you said you offer that service. That I like the email, and that's originally what I called you on, was the help with the email. And I like that, but my anxiety would come from creating the content. So, we can look at that too. But that was.
Yeah. Creating the content is not an easy thing to look at a blank screen and say, okay, what do I write first? So after now, Scott, with the investment of time that we've had of building your brand script out, essentially what I'll be able to do is write that copy for you, and you'll never look at a blank screen again. You'll simply look at a concept and say, this is what I like, this is what I'd like to change, and then we can make those updates for you and you'll be off and running and confident that it's done correctly.
All right.
So let's talk through some of the elements of success What does it look like for Jane when she is living in this cleaner home environment? Her kids are sleeping now. Just kind of give me some of the characteristics that would describe Jane's life now on the back end of this success.
Well, I'll probably change it from what I already had down there. Well, not necessarily change it. All those still apply, but I don't know. On that back up on the process, what we have: sleep well, no coughing. That's the success. Sleeping through the night, no coughing. May not. If they buy the entire package, I mean, if they had a dust problem, now we don't have to dust as often. We don't have. Oh, here's one we hadn't talked about was we don't have to get rid of the family dog or cat. So that would be in that anxious part. What are they anxious about? So the success, we get to keep the dog. And the reason why I hit on pets, everybody has a pet, and that seems to be, I posted Facebook stuff in the past, and if I put a picture on there, nothing happens. I put one with a kid on it, or the dog on it, everybody looks at it. Put one with a kid on it, even more people look at it. So that's one of the reasons why I was going to talk about them.
So kids are thriving in school because they sleep.
Yeah. Now we don't have to skip those football games.
Yep. And Jane is confident that her kids are breathing that clean air. The triggers have been removed. Yep, go ahead.
Right. Here's something I've learned recently, and I don't know how this may be super sophisticated, but are you familiar with the DISC profiles?
I am.
Personality profiles? So in a marketing message, do you take that in consideration? Or is that kind of what we're doing here? Is that we're almost identifying her personality, right?
Well, to some degree, we somewhat are. Do you feel Jane has a clear DISC persona, D-I-S or C? What's your Jane?
Well, I would say probably going to be a high S with some I. Number 2 would be I. It's kind of all this talking, that's who pops up, S and I. Do you see that? I'm just into it, so.
It could be. So security is her number one need. That would totally resonate with a high S. They want the stable environment, the security. They're on tilt because they can't provide that. And when that isn't the case, when they're not able to provide security and stability in the home environment, it becomes the all-consuming thing for them. Also, a high S is more concerned about other people's needs than their own a lot of times. And so that's true of Jane so far. And the high I would actually read that more than the energetic personality, which I think is probably true of Jane. I'd probably read into that as isn't about the analytics and numbers as much as it is about solving the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's helpful. That's helpful to get a better understanding of Jane. How old is Jane?
She's probably going to be right around 40, I'd imagine.
Yep. So those kids are kind of in the early teen years or late single digits, adolescence.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got a couple people that when I'm talking about this, who I'm talking about. See, my wife is, what is she? Oh my goodness, she's 37, and then I'm thinking of like her sister would be kind of somebody too. She's probably 39, 40, and then probably the other lady that I was thinking of, she's probably 42. so that's why I was, based on those three people that I know and have had experience with, that's why I say 40. So, but I guess they've got started later. They've got younger kids.
Sure.
So not yet teenagers, but I mean, either way, it doesn't.
Well, and I think the younger kids might even be part of the persona for Jane more than actually Jane's age. 37 to 42 means that she could probably afford. She's probably established career-wise that her and her family are, that they could afford to make a significant investment. But the younger kids is really the motivator, because her kids are haunted by this coughing spell that happens all the time, every night at home.
Yeah, I think kids define it more than her. Yeah, and that's why I threw my wife's sister, is because they've got plenty of money at that age. We're starting. I mean, we could afford it. So I'm saying, maybe 35 is where you start making money to afford those things.
Yep.
So yeah, that's why I say 40 is a good average.
Okay, so let's see here where we land. Request a call. Jane wants to be confident. What else? Is there anything else that would be an element of success for Jane?
Here's something else I thought of. Let's back up to maybe location of these people. The guy that told me they got me into the IQ Air, things like that. He shared a couple times who his customer was. I can't remember anything other than they pinpointed that their customer was like 2 miles from an elementary school or 2 miles from a school. And when I'm thinking of this, I've kind of come up with that too. They're really close to schools. And also they're close to a grocery store chain that we have here. I don't know if y'all have them. It's Publix. We notice Publix are in the same general areas as my targets.
It could be Publix is marketing to that demographic as well, right? They're kind of looking for the Janes of the world and her family.
Yeah. So I don't know how that applies. Maybe applies wrong.
Well, that may if you do direct mailing and so on, that may give you an audience as well, kind of a geographic location to target neighborhoods and so on.
Right.
That's great. Okay, what about failure? Remind me now. This is the end of the story for Jane. We're hoping that she takes action with affordable heating and cooling to avoid this. But if she doesn't take action, we've got kids sick, wheezing this fall. We've got that room on the far end of the house that's not comfortable. We've got paying too much on power bill. Those are some of the basic elements. Too much time in doctor's office for kids missing school, midnight trips to the ER for asthma attacks, children struggling in classroom because they're exhausted, coming home to a hot house. Again, the emergency room. Anything else? Element of failure.
Well, just go I think we can go back to that sleep well and be the opposite of that. Well, miss another night's sleep, or or don't wind up in the emergency room, or
Mm-hmm.
just to clarify that, yeah, somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Keep coughing.
Yeah.
Just
All
keep
right.
coughing. That's the fun. You're just going to keep coughing. You want to listen to that another sleepless night? I hate to use like the emergency room, but you can't leave it out because we ended up there a few times. But I don't want to use scare tactics,
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, the emergency room I get. Like, that's almost a threat. Like, hey, you don't do this, you're going to end up in the ER. That is a little bit of a threat. But I think there
yeah,
is an element of fear, an appropriate element of fear that we may end up leveraging here, Scott, with your message of,
yeah,
50 million kids or Americans suffer from allergies, and 50% of those are children who can't sleep at night. Do you really want that to be the case? It's almost like that's I don't know. It feels like there is a little bit of an element of fear that's kind of inherent in that. But she
yeah.
knows that
Well,
she's
yeah. I mean, I
fighting
guess
it. Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah. I mean, if they get fear from that, I guess you said it best. You're going to have fear. I mean, that's their natural reaction. That's why they're calling. But I guess
Right.
it's a threat. You want to feel like we're giving them a threat. Hey, you don't do this, you will end up there. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or if we do mention it, I'm sure it'll get mentioned. But I guess we just need to make it softer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know, but yeah.
Let's try this out. Let me recap kind of where we're at this point, just in rough cut, the message. And
Okay.
I'm gonna record this for myself as well for my own playback here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about our Jane Smith here. So rough cut message. At Affordable Heating and Cooling, we understand that you, Jane, want to be secure in your home. And for that to happen, you need to feel like you're in complete control of your home environment. That includes being able to control your child's unending cough, make your house more comfortable. See, the problem is, after trying all sorts of treatments, your child's cough still continues, and it's robbing your family of sleep, rest, and harmony. And it can really leave you feeling hopeless that you never have a healthy environment and the cough may never stop. Well, at Affordable Heating and Cooling, we believe every child deserves a good night's sleep. And then this might be where we pivot with the empathy and authority piece. So, listen, we know what it's like to walk in your shoes. We're family people too that have gone through asthma and allergies, or we go a different direction and say, listen, from our more than 23 years experience serving thousands of families just like yours, we understand how important it is, or we understand exactly how clean and pure air at home can help your family rest better. From our more than 23 years experience serving thousands of families just like yours, we understand how important a good night's sleep is, which is why we've been so passionate about removing the hidden triggers to coughing spells, using our proven process. Something like that. We're really getting after the
Yeah.
triggers and the allergens.
Yeah.
Here's how we can help you. Step 1, request a call. In this initial conversation, we're going to begin to explore the questions that are on your mind and the issues that are keeping you up at night, literally.
Yeah.
Step 2,
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
let me add that effect. Step
Before
2,
you run that ad late at night.
yeah, right. Step 2, we'll conduct a healthy home evaluation where we identify the hidden triggers that exist in your home and help you overcome them, and solutions to help you overcome them. And the triggers to coughing that exist in your home and help you overcome them. And step 3, sleep well. You're going to help your kids, basically, Jane, you can help your kids enjoy their home as a sanctuary and stop coughing for good.
Yeah.
So, step 1, request a call today so that you can stop. Don't let another night go by of disrupted sleep, but instead, confidently know that your children are breathing the cleanest air possible and that you've removed all the triggers that cause, these coughing spells and rob them of sleep, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're on the right track. On it.
So rough cut, that feel like it's in the right zone for you, Scott?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of on the right. Okay. That's super helpful.
Now let me ask you this: on that rough cut, just from the StoryBrand framework, how do I say that? Like, just say what you said is going to be our framework. Now, that's not an elevator speech or anything like that, is it?
Nope.
Or how would we use that? I guess that's the question.
Yep. So this is the beauty of kind of the laboratory here. So I take this rough cut, which is all 7 elements of the SB7 framework, and my next step is to write you paragraph form of that. That's one piece of the deliverable. The other is something in StoryBrand that we call the one-liner, which is the SB7 framework, but it's condensed into 3 of the elements, and it's the elevator speech. So that'll be more like 2 or 3 sentences that are just like real concise, kind of like if you stand up at a networking event and somebody says, "Okay, Scott, what do?" You say this. It's kind of a sidearm. It's not the full bazooka, but it's the sidearm. And then sometimes as I'm writing those out, Scott, I'll also come up with some taglines for the company as well. And so at least a paragraph and one-liner. Sometimes I'll also come out with some taglines. In fact, I'll try to think through that. And those would be even simpler yet. Those are like 2 or 3 words that kind of capture the essence of our story. So all of that will be part of the messaging that I'll deliver to you in this discovery process.
Okay.
Really,
but like in our marketing pieces, and I'm always using direct mail for instance, because that's who I'm going towards. I'm going for them. How do we? And this may be a topic of another conversation, but how do we use all of that? Because obviously you wouldn't write all that. So I guess the marketing piece would be like a bullet form of that. Help me with that.
Yeah, so the 7 elements, the brand script, the 7 elements of the SB7 framework, think of those like 7 guitar strings. We can, once we get all 7 of those nailed, which we're pretty close to at this point, it's like the chord, how to play a chord with all 7. As you write music into the future, you don't always use the same 7. You don't always use all of the strings. Sometimes you'll pick 2 or 3 of them. So in your direct mail piece, you may choose 2 of the 7 elements that we came out with.
There we go.
And focus on it. In fact, if there's one that I would probably lean into, I would use the problem bucket as the one that you lean into, and let them come to your website to find the solution to that problem. Open a story loop that they have to come to the website in order to solve. Or in social media, I would use probably a combination, some problem, and I would also use some success. In fact, I'd probably lean into testimonials once we start aggregating those on social media and talk about the transformation story, the before and after. So these 7 elements, once we kind of nail which, the most effective 7-part message, you can pick and choose on that. As long as you stay on that path, you can be reasonably certain that it will fit. It'll be one brand experience.
Okay. All right, that helps.
Yeah, you
So,
bet. Good question. Any other questions like that? That's a really good question to ask, though.
no, that's it for now, I guess.
Yep, yep. Yeah, so from this, Scott, this has been tremendous. I've gotten a ton of notes. In fact, let me count here. I've got, looks like 9 pages of notes that I've been able to capture from our time together, which has just been awesome. My next
How many
step,
pages you said?
I got 9 pages over here, brother.
9. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yep. So the beauty of this, though, is that this becomes my source document that I'm able to use into the future. So the heaviest lifting has pretty well been done at this point. My next step is that I go to work in the laboratory here trying to work out some paragraph form copy of your message. Our next meeting together will be, another 30 minutes or so, maybe up to an hour if we need it, where we review some paragraphs that I pulled together for you and take a look at the one-liner and say, okay, here's what I came up with based on your input. Give me feedback on it. It'll be the first time that you see it is when I show it to you in that meeting, just like this. But then we'll intuitively sense, like, are we on the right track? Is this feeling good for you? Is this working? Is this the right message, more importantly, for Jane? And then once we feel good of that, then you can start using those words immediately in your next social media post, in your conversation. This almost becomes a little bit of a script for you. And then some clients say, hey, now that we've got the messaging, we know what the elements are, they want to engage me for another engagement, which is to write a website wireframe for them. You've got a web developer, so what I could do is build a PDF design of what the website should say in position and hand that PDF to you, and you can bring that over to your web developer and they could install that. That's another engagement. We could do email sequences, even those direct mail pieces, we could design those out, at least put a schematic together for them with the copy to use. So there's a lot of different ways that we could express it afterwards, but step one is what we're in right now, which is that discovery process, and that's coming up with the clarified message.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, let's take a look, if we could, real quick at schedules, and maybe we could, are you at a place where it'd be convenient to schedule our follow-up?
Yeah, I should be able to, yeah. We're starting to kind of slow down, so it's a little easier.
Okay.
How far out are you looking?
Well, what's next week look like for you? Let me just pop that open. Okay, looks like that's Labor Day week, isn't it? You got anything on like Tuesday the 3rd, or looks like Tuesday the 3rd or Thursday the 5th would both be good days for me next week. Either of those work well on your end?
Thursday the 5th.
Thursday the 5th?
Yeah, Thursday, yeah, see, and you're looking at no more than an hour, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're probably 30 minutes. We could block an hour in case we need it, but these are typically, I feel pretty good, but 30 minutes would be a minimum time for us.
Okay. What time are you thinking?
Is the afternoon better than the morning typically?
Well, I'd rather do morning. I can keep appointments better in the morning. Afternoon, things start bleeding over and missing. So I can do.
Yeah, you
Thursday
say 9 o'clock. Thursday, 9 o'clock Eastern. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I got you now.
Good. I will. We'll send out the Zoom call details for that. It'll be just like this call right here, Scott. But we'll plan on 9 o'clock a.m. Thursday the 5th.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, brother. Look forward to it.
All right, man. Me too. Appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise. This will be a lot of fun, Scott. I'm thrilled for this process to come together for you. I'm confident with the raw material that we've been able to pull together. I've got more than enough source material to draw from here. This is great.
Okay. All right. Sounds good, man. We'll see you the 5th.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks again. Take care.
All right. Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.